Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just a little under 1 month away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and even creator George Lucas that is all set and ready to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, when we examine Episode 9, we do know that this movie is going to be a very complex story by Disney and Lucasfilm, not just story-wise, but also everything that is happening with production of this movie behind the scenes over at Disney and Lucasfilm, patching everything together and trying to get things right for the Star Wars fans around the world. Now, we do know that they went through many different adjustments and transitions, changes if you will, throughout the months of August, September, and October, and that J.J. Abrams really wants to make this by far the darkest Star Wars film there is out of the entire Skywalker saga, which really seems like it really is a little overboard. I feel like that you really can't top Episode 3, and if they do succeed at that goal of theirs to make this the darkest there is out of the entire saga, I'll honestly be very surprised. So with that being said, what's really intriguing has all to do with Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker in the film, and something rather unfortunate that has all to do with those scenes, a part of the initial cut of Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's intriguing about all of this is that it's explained that during the months of August, September, and October is when many changes and adjustments were made to the second and third acts of the film by Disney, Lucasfilm, and Kathleen Kennedy. It's explained that while these changes were being made, many pieces of the second and third acts of the film were reset by Disney and Lucasfilm. It's explained that one of the major changes to the film had to do with Mark Hamill's scenes as Luke Skywalker. It's explained that one of the major sequences deleted from the film involved a segment in which Mark Hamill portrayed Luke Skywalker in the form of a flashback where de-aging technology was used on Hamill's face. It's explained that the scene involved a segment in which Luke Skywalker was fighting a younger Ben Solo in a training session where they were both using lightsabers against each other, where Luke was using a green saber and Ben was using a blue saber. It's explained that while this all was happening in between takes, both Luke and Ben trained in the scene where Luke's new generation of Jedi are seen in the background standing in their Jedi robes, watching the duel take place, where the fight is described to be very fast-paced between Hamill and Adam Driver. It said that they used special makeup on Driver to make him appear years younger in the shot, and that Mark Hamill did an excellent delivery as Jedi Master, training his own nephew, Ben Solo. The scene was sadly cut, and unfortunately due to Disney's shift in the tone of the film's second and third acts of the movie, and that this scene was 100% complete before they cut it from the film. It said that also another sequence that Mark Hamill filmed was in the form of a Force ghost, where Luke would tell Rey the truth about her lineage and how she is indeed connected to Palpatine's bloodline. The scene was said to take place on the world of Octu, and was cut from the film as well, where it said that Mark Hamill was frustrated and angry that some of his best scenes were deleted from the film by Disney and Lucasfilm, and that these scenes will never see the light of day in the finalized version of the movie, however may make their way over to the Blu-ray edition in 2020. Another sequence that Mark Hamill worked very hard on was a sequence that was filmed in early 2019 this year, in which Mark portrayed the role of Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost introducing Rey to one of his holocrons on Octu, where Luke would teach Rey a lesson about holocrons and what they are able to do and what a Force user can do with them. Luke's holocron was said to be held by Luke's Force ghost, where he gives it to Rey to learn great knowledge about the Jedi. However, this scene was also cut in order to change it, where Rey just finds it during the events of The Last Jedi instead. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and as to why these are bad decisions by Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going into Episode 9 because they want to see a little bit more of Luke and obviously Palpatine. I think that those are the two main reasons of Episode 9, and it's not just that, it's also the fact that, yes, this is the very end of the Skywalker saga, and a lot of fans out there are very curious on how great this movie is going to be, or how bad it's really going to be, and how it's going to perform at the box office in total. So Disney and Lucasfilm, this really is a big deal because this movie does actually, prove whether or not Disney Star Wars is going in the right direction once it releases. If it doesn't do too well at the box office, that could very well spell a certain doom for the future of the franchise and where things are going to head for Disney Plus and the new Star Wars trilogy, etc. Or if it does decent and very well, that can actually point Disney and Lucasfilm in the right direction of where they want to go. Now, of course, it's not just about box office results. It's all about how it's going to resonate with fans, what the fans are going to think about The Rise of Skywalker, You know, if you look at The Last Jedi, yeah, it made decent money, but a lot of fans did not like the movie. There's a, you know, large chunk of the Star Wars fans that completely reject The Last Jedi, and honestly, I'm one of them. I'm just not a person who really enjoys The Last Jedi. I found a lot of issues with the film, and upon, you know, my first viewing of the movie, I was very confused as to what I just saw, to the point where I had to see it at least one more time, and that was it. So with The Rise of Skywalker, I'm hoping, and just hoping and crossing my fingers here, that JJ is really going to patch things together with George Lucas in at least a decent way at minimum, to the point where it's going to be watchable. Now, the fact that they cut these specific scenes for Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker in the forms of flashbacks and Force Ghosts, especially the one where Luke's Force Ghost was going to introduce a holocron over to Rey, would have been quite, you know, a magnificent scene by Disney and Lucasfilm, because we do know that they want to get holocrons very well known to Star Wars fans and to new Star Wars fans alike, because they're selling these things over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's a product that a large chunk of the fan base don't necessarily know exactly what it really is, like the casual fans. They don't really know what holocrons are per se. But when you go into, of course, you know, The Rise of Skywalker, they will be getting the fans to become a bit more familiar with holocrons and what they really are, and exactly, you know, what's going to be done with that in Episode 9. Now, the other piece that I actually do want to tap into here is that Mark Hamill, you know, has been very angry and frustrated with how his scenes were completely cut from the movie. Some of his scenes, not all, I should mention. And this could very well express as to why Mark Hamill went on Twitter responding to that picture. I don't know if you guys saw this. A guy bought like a dozen tickets to The Rise of Skywalker, and then Mark Hamill made some kind of like joke or something around those lines saying, you know, wait till it comes out on cable. That's what Mark Hamill had to say. And even if it was a joke, a lighthearted joke, why would you even joke about that period if you are, you know, a part of the cast of Episode 9? That just doesn't wrap around my head right there. So I feel like that there, yes, is, you know, something going on with Mark Hamill, you know, with what he has been writing on Twitter, and it does indeed match directly up with this, of how these particular scenes were completely cut from Episode 9, everything involving him as a Force Ghost and flashbacks, even training Ben Solo. This is something that fans have wanted to see for the longest time. You know, him training his own nephew, Ben Solo, that would actually serve as an extension of what we already got a glimpse of in The Last Jedi flashback scenes, and you can see what they're doing, right? You can see that they're trying to play things safe with Episode 9. They're trying to either save things for new canon material like books, novels, I mean, stuff around those lines, which honestly I think that more of this should be done in movies rather than books. That's just my take on things, because when you see things in a movie, it seems more canon, at least to me, as a Star Wars fan, because you're actually seeing it, you're seeing it in motion, you're seeing the actors do things. Sure, books and novels, they're 100% canon, but it sticks to the casual viewers more when it's actually embedded in a movie. Not all the Star Wars fans read the books, the comics, and the novels, and that's the only problem with deciding on certain aspects only making it to the books and the comics, etc. So the other piece that I actually want to tap into here is that, yeah, I believe that this is a big mistake by Disney and Lucasfilm. I think it's a terrible decision to pretty much dwindle Mark Hamill's scenes down to whatever it is right now, and how they really took away some of the shots that would really kind of just give us a better idea of Luke's past life, you know, well before the events of The Force Awakens, and, you know, pretty decent scenes of him as a Force Ghost communicating with Rey and introducing her to holocrons and all these crazy things. Now, one thing is for certain, though, is that Ahch-To is coming back in this film. Just some of those scenes were deleted from the movie. There are multiple different takes of Luke's Force Ghost and what he would do with Rey on Ahch-To, where now in the finalized version of the movie, it's actually said to be Luke lifting an X-Wing out of the water of Ahch-To, allowing Rey to jump in there and take off and leave that world. That's apparently a part of the finalized version of the movie, so look forward to that, of Luke actually being able to finish what he was not able to, you know, finish what he actually started to do in The Empire Strikes Back, that he could not do on Dagobah, that he now does on Ahch-To. It's a very interesting, poetic experience, I guess you could say. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.